Tim Fonte. How many like liver sausage? See, there's one. See, I like it.
What kind of liver?
No, it's not. It's all ground up and everything, and it comes, and you slice it and you spread
Where do
it.
you get the liver from? What end?
It's good for you.
Is it usually cow liver?
I don't know. Tell you the truth.
Do people eat pig livers?
Either way, yuck. So,
When I was a kid, I used to eat liverwurst with mustard until I figured out what it was. And I stopped eating. And it's too bad because actually it's good with mustard, but no, it's gross. I can't do it. All right, come on. I know there's more gross people. There's one over here. Rick.
I gotta get my roller skates on.
Yeah.
So I'm Rick Butler. I'm the spouse of this crazy lady here. A friend of mine is this working? I can't really tell. But anyways, I worked with this guy, and he would go to Florida on vacation every year, and on his way home, he would stop, he would buy Limburger cheese, Vidalia onions, and rye bread. Pull in my driveway, and of course it would drag on the way out because the motorhome's so large. But anyways, and we would share a conversation and Limburger cheese, of which a lot of people don't like, but this guy and I do. And so this year they didn't get to go to Florida. They're getting a little long in the tooth. And so Jen and I are going to go up maybe on Wednesday, and we're going to get some Limburger cheese and share some time with our friends.
We being him and Wes. The ladies talk.
Is it actually tasty?
I don't know. I eat it, and I don't care if people don't like me for a while.
Peer pressure.
It makes me think of the Little Rascals episodes. Right?
Of course, most people were back in the. Thank you. Oh, they can hear me over there. Well, back in the 40s when they were.
Fish with bananas, just so you got it.
Yeah, you just got to try it first. My grandkids won't eat it. But all my siblings, he still eats it. He won't admit it, but I know. But anyways, tuna fish stinks. If you get the old stuff, when you're poor, you just used to buy the whatever you can get for tuna fish. Well, that stuff just smelled like fish. And my mom says, we can't have that. So they started putting bananas on it just to kill the smell and gave it a flavor. I kind of like it. You just have to say, try it yourselves.
You win.
Okay.
All right, so I'm Brandon, and if I had to choose, I'd probably say Samuel, if only for the reason that he would have been the last of Israel's judges, and then seeing it go into being the kingdom after that, and just seeing how his perspective would have been for that.
I would like to have dinner with King Solomon because I'm hoping that maybe he could give me a little bit of that cash he has.
All right, do we have one more? We'll take one more on this. Oh, right here, we got one.
I'd like to have dinner with Jael, the lady who ran the spike through the guy's head, because she was a woman who knew what needed to be done, and she did it.
I'm gonna lay hands on Ralph, and we can all just pray for him right now, okay?
I got a hard head.
Shoo! Good thing, buddy.
Tell us your name.
Michaela Simpson, gonna be Barnhart soon. I would go to Paris, and not for the Eiffel Tower, actually for the catacombs underneath. I'm kind of into the whole horror kind of thing. Wanted to investigate. So.
Yeah, that would be crazy. We'll check the catacombs out. Excellent. All right, any other world travelers here?
Excuse me.
Yep, my name's Deb. I've always wanted to go to Israel and walk and be in all the places where Jesus and all the disciples have been.
I'll bet airfare is really cheap to there right now.
We got another one here.
Nihon. I would go to Japan. 'Cause I've always been intrigued by the culture there. I love the language, I don't know, everything about, I love the rules. I love that it's like very structured. Everyone's very polite. They're very clean. I don't know. It just seems like a really enriched place to go. And there's a lot of cute stuff, kawaii, and cute things are nice.
Can we go back to the travel, Jason?
I can't see that very nice.
What's the next question?
Worship song, but you can tell us where you're traveling first.
Okay. My name's Jason. The last question, I would go to Portillo, Chile right now because they just got 1.5 meters of snow. I'd take my snowboard along. And then, and it would be when we were on missions in South America, we took that road over the Andes Mountains, and that was one of the craziest drives yeah, pretty crazy. And then I would say the worship song would be How Great Is Our God. Best moment of worship I ever had was elk hunting in the mountains of Wyoming all by myself, and that song just came right to my mind. And then, as I usually do it with the what's the other song I usually sing with that? How Great Is Our God and How Great Thou Art. Thank you. That would be another one. So.
You got nothing?
Hello, my name is Barb, and one of the new songs out that really get to me is No Fear. Even though I have to walk through that valley, no fear, no fear. Love that song. You guys need to learn it.
We'll go with you first.
No, it wasn't me raising my hand. I was
Oh,
pointing
you're
out to you.
pointing out to her, all right.
Yeah.
Gyra with Elevation Worship. Just Gyra.
I like the King of Hearts album by Brandon Lake. It's not any specific song, but just the whole album. It's sorry.
Say it again.
I just said the King of Hearts album by Brandon Lake.
Anybody else? Favorite word?
My name's Darlene. My favorite song right now is Made for More. Josh Baldwin.
So go to Moose here. I want to know. I like to ask the worship leaders what their favorite songs are. So, what's yours favorite? Like right now.
I don't know. I agree with Bailey, like the whole album. I like listening to whole albums, and that is a really good one that just came out. Brandon Lake's new. Yeah. I listen to that.
Darren, what's your favorite?
I'd probably say Brandon Lake's Gratitude. Yeah, I like that one. Yeah.
I've heard that recently. I love the bridge in that song.
Favorite worship song?
Oh gosh, this is a hard one. I really like the first one that we did today. You Have My Heart. I think just because of the story of it, the idea that you can go literally anywhere and God's still going to find you there. And even if you're at the lowest place, it's just a song for like any season of your life.
Can you hear him?
I know probably no one's ever heard this, but there was a song by Rich Mullins called Be With You, and that will be played at my funeral, okay?
Probably outlived him.
Still kind of get you.
Did you have one, or were you pointing to him? Oh, yes.
Chris Ebert. I like Megan Woods.
Truth.
It's kind of neat to hear everybody's different songs.
People might not know it, but Skillet is actually a Christian band. So I like Hero by Skillet.
They've been going a long time too. They're great. Refuge. Skillet, yeah.
It is well with my soul.
My favorite person that does the old hymns is Chris Rice. So whenever you hear me playing hymns here, that's what it is. He has an instrumental version and he has one where he sings it. Does such an excellent job. Yeah, okay, so verse. Do you have a go-to verse? Preachers, pastors, whatever, we lie all the time. Take that one. No, we always say, this is one of my favorite verses, right? Or this is my favorite verse in the honor. Easily can tell you my favorite verse, John 3:17. Absolutely my favorite verse. And it's actually on the wall over there by the fire extinguisher. Basically, it says, after, everybody knows 3:16. But 3:17 says, I didn't come to this world to condemn the world, rather than save the world. So that's my favorite verse. So any favorite verses out there?
We got Lori.
Romans 5:1. Therefore, since you have been justified through faith, you have peace with God.
Carrie.
Don't go too far. So stop it. Anybody that knows me, I cry, I'm emotional, I'm passionate. The foundation is definitely Proverbs 3, 4, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. So through all the stages of my life, that was one that was planted in Sunday school. So you parents that don't think that that is important, that is a lie. And then Jeremiah 29:11. We weren't supposed to do this. Thanks, Sean. I tried everything. Outside of God to be happy. And when I finally chose, I have a crazy story that I'll share with anybody because that's just who I am if you ever want to hear it. But somehow, someway, God got me back here and right there. And this lady right here was sitting right there. And she gave me Jeremiah 29:11, which is nothing but truth in my life that I've seen since that day. He knows the plans he has for me, plans to prosper me and not to harm me, plans to give me a hope and a future. And then my mother and Grandma Donna would say something about peace after that, but I haven't got that far yet. So we're still at Jeremiah 29:11.
Time I'm getting roller skates.
Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through God who strengthens me.
Okay.
Galatians 5:6. The only thing that counts is faith expressing itself in love.
What's something most people don't know about you? I'll go first. You guys have heard almost all my stories. I'm scared.
Yeah, you should be.
When I was younger, a bow and arrow that I had, not like a counter bow, but like a bow. And I unscrewed the field tip that was in it, and I shot my brother right in the chest. And it was really funny to me when I did it. I just let it.
Taylor has a story. Taylor beat somebody up in the Dunkin' parking lot.
Everyone. Somebody thought that I cut in front of them in the Dunkin' parking lot, and I didn't, and they were making all kinds of obscenities behind the mirror or whatever, behind the window, and so I got out, and they got out, and I just gave them a little chest bump. Let them know I did not cut in front of them. It was a long time ago.
Tim just said the Sean DNA runs deep. I'm saying. She's yours now.
I'll start calling on people I know.
We got one here.
We got one here, we got one there. There we go. Alan.
Hi, my name is Alan, and my story is very similar to his story. You know, I told my sister to get out of a cherry tree, and I had a bow and arrow, and she didn't get out, and I actually did shoot her in the shoulder with the arrow.
Did it stick?
Yes, it did stick.
You did?
Did you
go to juvie?
No, I didn't go to juvie, but I got a good butt whipping by my dad, and yeah. And he broke my bow and arrow and told me I wasn't going to get another one. And of course, the following year I got another one.
Mary, you can talk to me later if you need to.
Well, it's good to know I'm not alone. Up here, we got one.
So I almost broke every bone in my body. I've been in a lot of sports, but I think the worst one was actually my pinky finger. I was 3.5 years old, and I am deathly afraid of bikes, even my kids riding their bikes, pushing each other, because I was pushing my older sister, 3 years older than me, and pushing her, and my finger got caught in the chain. I ripped it out, and I had my tip of my pinky finger hanging, and I have no knuckle on the top of my pinky finger because of it. Didn't know it was going to grow back, so yeah, thank God it did.
Hang on, we'll come back.
Well, this is not violence. I see you guys are violent people. This scar on my arm is actually not a birthmark, if anyone thought it was. Most people think it's a birthmark. I got a 3rd-degree burn when I was in 3rd grade from being greedy and not waiting for my grandma to take the little cup noodle soup out of the microwave. And it was extremely hot. And I went and stepped on something, and it was taller than me, and it just fell right on my face and on my arm. And like I immediately rubbed it, and it was so hot that like my skin just came off with it. Oh, you guys feel sorry for me. I was being greedy. But yeah, I almost got left back that year because I couldn't go to school because I couldn't put clothes on. So yeah, this is not a birthmark. This is me being greedy.
Okay, this one involves Donna. So this was before Jesus. Okay? We grew up near Loon Lake. We went to Loon Lake. We were not supposed to be at Loon Lake. We decided we were going to go out on the boat. Anyway, out on the boat, we got put out or get out. I learned to swim that lake. Oh yeah, Donna and I swam that lake. Oh yeah.
Okay, so I was shooting my brother's BB gun, and I am a really, really bad shot. So I kept getting closer and closer and closer and closer to this block of wood because I was made up my mind I was going to hit that son of a gun. So I finally, I don't know, I was about 10 feet away from it, and the BB finally hit that block of wood, and the BB bounced back and hit me in the tooth. Hit me in the tooth. Yeah. So don't take me hunting with you, ever, ever. So could have hit me in the eyeball, gone down my throat, any amount of things. So I've not hit. I've shot something since then, but it's like no, just I'd rather read a book while everyone else hunts. Yeah. So I didn't shoot my eye out. Could have been bad.
So, my name's Tempe, those of you who saw my story. And for those of you that don't know, when I was younger, my sister and I didn't really get along growing up. Lots of cage matches between the two of us. But the funniest one was when we were really little out in the front yard. She thought it would be a good idea to grab me by both of my ears and spin me around in circles and throw me into the yard. So that was probably the worst one for me growing up.
PTSD from that? All right, so a little more serious. What would
All right, so in my case, when I was in 3rd grade, if anyone's had a chance to hear my testimony, I've said this before, but when I was in 3rd grade, I ended up developing a brain tumor the size of my current fist on my right frontal lobe. I couldn't eat anything for over 21 straight days and was losing all that weight as a little kid and just scared for my life, didn't know what was going on, didn't know why I was sick. A lot of questioning with my dad when I was younger, like, why is this happening to me? Like, why me? What did I do? But for me, looking back on it now, I will never forget at the Sunday before going into the CAT scan to see if they were going to have to be able to operate to try to remove anything. The pastors, the deacons, the elders insisted on praying over me after the sermon. So sitting down on the floor as like group of like 20 or so men are praying over me, rebuking it. And just after that was done, going home, getting up, going to the hospital the next morning, and then never will I ever forget the doctor looking at my father and saying, "Derek, we don't know what to tell you. The tumor's gone." So the fact that I will never doubt if God is real, because for me, that's all the proof I ever needed.
I thought that God talked to the people like Julie and Donna and Barb. And one day, I'd quit my job at, I'm a nurse, and I'd quit my job at Noise. And I was working per diem at Highland, and I wasn't working as much as I wanted to. And I have quite the collection of cowboy boots. And I was cleaning, and I looked down at this one pair of boots that I kind of liked. And God said to me, "Give away those boots, and you'll have all the work you want." And I said back to him, "But I like these boots." And he said, "Yeah, I know." And I said, "Well, I can just buy more." And he says, "I know." It's like, here I am arguing with God, like I was arguing with one of my kids. And so I thought, well, So I put those boots in my car, and I drove around with them for a couple of weeks. I didn't put them on. Never did put them on. I'm not going to, take that chance. So I took them over to my daughter, Lisa, who's got horses. That's why I ended up with so many cowboy boots. And I told her the story, and she says, pardon my French, she says, "That shit doesn't happen." I says, "Well, yeah, actually it does." And so ever since that incident, I've worked more than I've ever needed to. So it's kind of proof that if you listen, or even if, it was like, there was no mistake in that. God will talk to anybody. And there you have it. Me too.
Can't hear it. We can't hear.
Yeah, my name's Carol Little, and when my husband was sick in the hospital, my son was friends with Julie and Sean because they had come to church here, and Julie and Sean came and prayed for my husband, and he did end up passing away, and I said, "I'm going to church," and I went to Foursquare Church ever since.
We're lucky to have you.
Thank you.
You all know Grandma Donna. I followed Donna.
Hi, Paul and my wife Bonnie, and we actually went to visit my sister in North Carolina, so they took us to their church, and it was a Foursquare, and we just were touched by it, so we come back home and looked up a Foursquare close to us, and here we are. Grateful to be here. Thank you, guys.
Anybody else?
Thanks, Julie. Right here.
Hi, Marlene. Well, how I found this church, I was walking through the parking lot, and there was music blaring out of there, and I wandered in. That was, like 25 years ago? And I've been here ever since.
Did you really? You just heard the music?
Yeah, I heard the music, and I came in, and then like a week later, I got talking to my brother, who came because of Donna. And he's like, come and check it out. You're going to like it. And so my mom and I came the next Sunday, and yeah, we've been here since then.
Chuck and I were looking for another church, and I knew that the Bageses came here, and I knew that Janet came here, and I had known them from Canasarega. We looked at a bunch of different churches, went to a bunch of different ones. We came here, and we liked it, and we kept looking. And so we decided to come back again, and it was the Lord's leading. And Chuck and I looked at each other, and we said at the same time, I think we found our church. So it was the love that we found. The sermons were spot on. The worship was amazing, and we just felt very blessed here. Still do.
For those of you who don't know, Lori serves on the church council. To the church and to the council. And it's great to have her. We were honored that you and Chuck landed here while he was still going. That was great. I've always loved Chuck. He was always so nice to me. And, yeah. Heidi, how'd you end up here?
I was real quick raised Catholic. Kneel, sit, stand, fear the Lord. They mean it, fear Him. And so as an adult, I was like, yeah, no part of that. And I'm sitting in the gym in a basketball game, trash talking the refs, and sit next to this pretty lady I had seen when I would drop my kids off from at middle school earlier. I would drive by her house and I saw this pretty lady sitting there. So she's sitting next to me in the gym, and I'm really bad, trash talking the ref. And we're talking. So the next game, same thing. And then she says, well, why don't you come to our church? And I'm like, okay. Well, I show up. I didn't realize she was the pastor's wife. Or that she was a pastor herself. I felt about this tall, and I've been here ever since. But you stuck with her. She stuck with me.
Before. I'm Stephanie. My mailman, Frank, my dad was telling me that I had to find a church nearby because my dad is a pastor. And he said, being home is not enough. Go find some churches. And one day I asked my mailman where are some churches that I can go to. And I told him that I'm Christian. And then he just referred here. And he said he's spoken here a few times. And it was Easter of 2023 that we came for the first time and been here ever since.
So Frank Williams, if you don't know who she's talking about.
We love Frank.
That's great. Frank, he's an icon in this town. That guy's knowledge on the real baseball. Janet.
So, mine's an interesting one. Friends of ours told me about this guy that came to Dansville, and he was really on fire for God. And at the time, I was church hopping, had left to form a church because my gifts were not welcome there, and I knew that way back then, even though my gifts were not being used all that much, but I knew it was not the place for me. Anyway, so I was church hopping and became friends with this girl. We were walking, and she said, oh, there's this guy in Dansville that's really, I think you'd really be interested in him, and it was Pastor Jim. And I came a couple times, and here I am, and I don't know how many years later it is, but I know I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Janet's one of the few people that was here before we were here. There's a few of you.
Well,
Not many, but a few here. So let's roll the question to the next part as we start to wind this down. So somehow we've not scared you off, so we're kind of curious that why you keep coming back.
I specifically want to answer this because it's very important to me. But I'm going to be very honest here. We all have eyes. I am the only black person here. So being the only black person and everyone being nice and welcoming, even at my most vulnerable moments when I just had my baby, people came and brought me meals. It means a lot to me because nobody's judging me. And, you know, there's not a lot of black people in this town, so it's, why is it crying? I feel very comfortable, and so that's a lot for me.
That's hard to do. That's really impressive.
Yeah, we really do feel the same way about that. That's why we keep coming back. It's very comfortable and a lot of love and friendly and, yeah, non-judgmental. It's just wonderful. It's good.
What'd she say?
It's like walking into a hug.
Oh, cool.
If I'm honest, it was Derek. The first time I walked in, he walked up to me and goes, "Hey, friend," gave me a hug. Didn't know who he was, didn't know he was a pastor. And then the next week, he did the same thing. It was just that welcoming feeling at the church, and then everyone else kind of just comes along with it.
You just put fuel to his fire, just so you know, Zach. Thank you. We're good for the next 10 years, guys.
The tears are now rolling.
So I'm a little new here, but I like the family atmosphere, especially, you know, my kids. So I'm not married yet, been engaged for freaking forever, but eventually I'll get there. But yeah, I love the family atmosphere and that my kids feel welcome and feel very happy. So
This was easy.
I keep coming back because I always learn something every Sunday from your sermons. Years ago, my oldest daughter, Alessandra, said, "Pastor Sean should be a teacher." Funny, you got your doctorate in it. Yeah, no, always learning something from her.
So when we came here, we moved from Rhode Island, and we had had some, you know, church drama and church wounding. And it was just really refreshing to be in a place that didn't put pressure or manipulate or control you or make you feel guilty or shame you to not be more involved, and they didn't have Christian masks on. Everybody was just real, and they got that it was just about loving God and loving each other. It was just refreshing, you know, because before I accepted the Lord, I was raised Catholic too, and I was like, me and Jesus are good. It's his people. And then after, you know, being in a charismatic Assembly of God church and being wounded by your supposed family, your eternal church family, like it was, okay, me and Jesus are good, but his people, you know what I mean? So it's sometimes still hard to be in any church, but I know Jesus loves us all, and every church is flawed because I'm in any church I'm in, and I'm flawed, and it's just refreshing that it's real and messy. The Messy Spirituality book that Julie gave me when we first got here, it still resonates in my heart that we're all messy and we're all works in progress, but God designed that we do it in community. So.
That's a really good book, by the way, Messy Spirituality. If anybody wants a copy, I would be more than happy. Just say the word and I'll make sure you get a copy of it because it's really good.
All right, in closing, I have two last questions, but we're not going to do it here. The two questions that I want you to think about. Thank you.